Today, we are starting a lesson on trigonometry applications of the laws of sines and cosines. These deal with oblique triangles. A triangle that is not a right triangle is called an oblique triangle. So the measures of the three sides and the three angles can be found if you know at least one side and any two other things. There are four possible ways that you can know the three things. A side and two angles, two sides and an angle, or two sides and the angle between them, or all three of those sides. Now, in the law of sines, the ratio of the side to the sine of its opposite angle is the same in every case. Let's look at an example of the law of sines. So one of the angles that we know is 41.8. So the sine of 41.8 is underneath 35.3. B, sine of 83.2 is underneath B, and then the sine of, if you take this angle and this angle added together, they equal 125, so the other angle is 55 degrees. Oops, and that will be C. So, on our calculator, we would solve this by cross multiplying. So in the first case, it's 35.5, or 35.3, excuse me, times sine of an 83.2 divided by the sine of a 41.8. And B is 28.97, so let's call it 29.0. And then for the other one, I'm going to go back to my original ratio and compare it to the original. Let's see, how can I do this? Let's scroll this up. Now we can, I just wanted you to be able to see the calculations. So I'm going to take 35.3 times, what happened to my times, sine 55 divided by, you gotta get the divide by sine, sine 41.8, and I get 43.38. I think my B here is wrong. I'm going to recalculate that. The reason why I say it's wrong is the biggest side should be opposite the biggest angle, and that's not the biggest side, so I must have made a mistake when I calculated. Let's try it again. 35.3 times sine 83.2, close parentheses, divided by sine 41.8 is 52.6. I like that better because then it's the bigger side. Okay. Let's go on. Here's another example, and we want to know how far it is across the creek. So, let's get our, just a second, I get my cords. There, okay. So we want A, which is over sine 31.10. Remember, you only have to use the law of sines and cosines if it's an oblique triangle such as this one. And then equals B, which is 12.75 over the sine of B. And that you have to figure out by subtraction. So these two add up to 144. 180 minus 144 is 36. So sine 36. And let's get out our calculator and cross multiply and divide. So we have sine 31.1 times 12.75 divided by sine 36 is 11.2, so it's 11.2 feet across the creek. Actually, we should get 3 sig digs. 11.20. Next one. In any triangle, the sum of the two lengths of any two sides must be greater than the length of the remaining side. In other words, you can't have a triangle that has sides 1, 1, and 300, because the two sides have to be bigger than, when you add them up, than the third side. A law of cosines. A squared is b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine A. Here's what I want you to notice about the law of cosines. B and c are what you multiply. Cosine is what you're looking for. Okay? So this only works if you know two sides and the angle between them. That's when the law of cosine works. Notice in this case we know two sides and the angle between them. So I'm going to write out the math here. C squared, or in other words C, will be the square root of A squared, which is 223. It's across from angle A squared, plus B squared, 410 squared, minus 2 times A, 223, times B, 410, times the cosine of 120 degrees, 40 minutes. Okay, let's break out the calculator. Square root key. 223 squared plus 410 squared minus 2 times 223 times 410 times cosine 120 degrees 40 minutes is 557.75, which we would round to 558. Which makes sense because it is the biggest side. Next one. Solve this triangle below. No, it says side, 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 but this is not side, side, side in this case. Oops, I lost my calculator. Okay, let's draw the picture. So, what are we going to do? A will be the square root of b squared, 13.7 squared, plus c squared, 17.4 squared, minus 2 times 13.7 times 17.4 times the cosine of 35.9 degrees. So we break out the calculator. Square root key. 13.2 squared plus 17.4 squared minus 2 times, oh, that should be 13.7, not 13.2. Two times, 13.7 times 17.4 times cosine 35.9 is, go to error, times oh, I see. Times 13.7 times 17.4. It didn't have these numbers underneath the square root, and they should be. Times cosine 35.9. Now we can delete these numbers here. Let's go to the end and delete them. Delete. Delete, 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 delete. There we go. Now it'll tell us that this side is 10.2. So side A is 10.2. Next one. Is that the last problem? Yep, it is. If you have any questions, give me a call.